On Tuesday, the 2nd of September 2025, we're with Mr. Galosedi on Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. He is the managing director of NAWEC. Before you came here, I sent you, is it a complaint? Is it a concern from a listener somewhere in the North Bank region about rural electrification? Apparently, some communities are getting electric meters free of charge. They don't have to contribute anything. They just sit at home. Somebody comes and says, Salam alaikum, them are in the meter, and, you know, it's put up somewhere. Whereas he happens to live in a community where they're not being asked to pay thousands, not even 1,000, but at least $500. And he wants to know why some are getting the meters free of charge while they have to pay 500. And I remember saying to you, I wish I was asked to pay only 500 for my meter.
Okay. All right, like I said, just maybe it's misunderstanding of the processes that we are going through as NAWEC. There are different types of projects that we have, and each project have its own deliverables. Some of the projects, there is a component where it has the meter to be installed at a particular property, right? So it means the contractor will now have to go and install the meter at that property. So it doesn't mean that the customer later on will not have to pay. They have to pay still that 500. So what the guy is seeing is that the meter is connected and the customer is not yet charged. So he thinks it's free. Yes, the installation is done, but when the customer makes an application to be connected to the system, he will still pay that $500, just to clarify that. There are other projects where the meter is not part of the installation under the contractor, so NAWEC does that. So when we are going to do that, we do it at the same time, so you pay the 500 and we connect it. Wow. So that's the difference.
Okay, fantastic. Let me take, you know, when I read this first time, I laughed, and my cameraman must have thought, well, what's so funny about what he's reading? The intensity of electric power supply in my side of Bundung is sometimes so reduced that if you switch your electric fan to number 3, the blades rotate like a rat that has just taken rat poison. What does NAWEC do? Why does NAWEC do that to us? This is Bundung now.
Okay. Like I explained previously, there are some clusters within the GBA where the transformers that are serving some of those areas are overloaded. Let's say you come to a traffic jam, congestion. So what do? So it's either you try to squeeze and damage your vehicles, or you try to get the traffic man to try to reduce the congestion. And that's what is happening with NAWEC. Some of those transformers are overloaded. And at peak period, we have to load shed or it trips off. But in terms of the low voltages that they are getting, some of these connections are so far away from the transformers. So if you took at 2, 3, 4 kilometers from a transformer on that single line going, by the time, if you are at the tail end, by the time the electricity gets there, it's almost zero. So you will have that experience. In saying that, we are looking at all these areas and seeing how we can improve on the flow of electricity to those particular spots. And we've done that in 2 or 3 occasions just not long ago. There's one coming from the Jabang area. We offloaded it, and those people, they are happy today.
Fantastic. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Kindly ask your guest, when will the embargo on water meters be lifted?
Okay, on water meters, I'll take the opportunity to just tell the public what's happening at NAWEC right now. We had a backlog of people who have paid of about 1,600 meters, and we are almost at the tail end of completing the connection of those meters. Now, the next step we are doing is we are looking at those who have paid previously. This is since 2023, people who have applied and paid the application fees, but they have not been invoiced. So we've identified all of those, and it was coming close to about 4,000 of them. So what we want to do is, before you open up, you fix the problem that you have first, and that is to get invoices to those customers, and we've already started. They pay, and then we connect them. I've been very optimistic. I've said this many times. I am optimistic that within the next 6 weeks within 2 months' time, we will open up for the public to start applying. What we didn't want is to just apply and we get overwhelmed, and then they will start complaining, oh, we've paid and we are not yet connected. But if we clear the backlog, we open up, we are going to make sure that you get your water within 14 days after paying. So that's our objective.
By the way, thanks for, positively intervening in the case of Alajiba, who waited decades, for water connection. Good morning. Kindly ask MD why school meters are categorized as commercial meters. I believe it should be domestic, and this is from Momodu Jallo.
Okay, we have 3 categories of water meters. We have the domestic residential meters, we have commercial, and we have the industrial meters. So there's no in between. So schools get paid. It's not like a free institution. So their cost is included in the services that they are providing. They should charge for that. So there's no in between. There's domestic, which is for residential customers, and then you have the commercial customers, and then you have the industrial customers.
So schools are commercial?
Yes.
Even public schools?
Yes.
The ones belonging to the Ministry of Basic and Secondary?
Yes. We may change the word commercial and to say, so we give it another name that will be more palatable,
Business.
Business. No,
All
but
right.
to be honest, I think if you look at our cost of electricity and the tariffs, what we are selling it for, if people really understand that, they will appreciate and actually sympathize with NAWEC and government.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Kindly ask the MD when they will connect our meters. For months now, our meters have been pasted on our wall without electricity. Very soon is all we have been hearing. How soon is soon? We are part of the rural electrification project. By the way, it is just 3 months before the end of the year.
Okay, so as I speak to you today, people are in the provinces working tirelessly to do exactly that. As I said before, some contracts, the contractor will install the meter, and then it is after when the lines are energized and people apply when they are connected. So we are in that transition phase where some meters have been connected, but the lines are not yet energized, right? So until the lines are energized and the project is ready to go, that's the only time they can be connected. But like I said, by the end of the year, most of these meters will be connected. So bear with us for a few more months, and then we'll all be there together.
All right. Mr. Gomez, kindly ask the MD why electricity goes off and on during rainy season, aside from the normal on and off.
Okay. When you have stormy weathers, you have different problems. Especially, for example, you can have windy environments when you have the tree branches falling on the lines. That will switch off. When there's a tree on the line, the electricity will go off. Sometimes the conductors will break. Sometimes there's areas where there are floods. So even birds, vultures standing between 2 lines, if it is too close, they can switch off the line and get electrocuted. Those are just common problems wherever you go. And some of our infrastructure also are very old. I can tell you, very, very old. Since in the 70s, GUC days.
GUC days.
Yes. Some of those infrastructures are still there. So they are vulnerable. But as I said, we have projects to try to be more what I call proactive and more preventative to ensure that we minimize these issues. Also on transformers that are overloaded, if it's suddenly too much power surge, the transformer can trip. So different reasons. I'm not an expert in electricity, but it's a common problem that is all over the world.
Good morning. Ask Mr. Sedi why still now the community of Kindi Sabel, Tujereng, doesn't have either electricity or water supply. This is from Matar Cham.
Okay. Matar, I can sympathize with you. There are a lot of areas within the periphery of the GBA that also don't have water or electricity. But what I can reassure you is that our long-term plan is to make sure that all these areas are covered, and currently we have signed contracts to get water into some of those areas. I don't know specifically where he's talking about.
It's near Tujereng, he says.
Yeah,
Kindi Sabel.
I don't know where specifically that is, but there are projects that are coming that will extend water to those areas, Sanyang, Tujereng, all the way to Jambanjeli, Jabang, C4 areas. You know, the WASIP project that is also coming will cover most of those areas, all the way to Gunjur. We have projects that are actually coming there to reinforce that area. So you are in mind. You are not out of mind. Like I said, it will take some time to get there.
Salam Alhaji Father Peter Gomez. Those of us who knew him, this is about you now, in his old good days, are happy about his appointment. He's a very down-to-earth person, empathetic and committed. He has helped a lot in solving NAWEC challenges in those days. And this is coming from Mamadou Musa Diouf of West Africa, Takaful. An old classmate?
Okay. Well, thanks for the compliment. I think you don't beat your own drums.
No, he's beating the drum for you.
Yeah, so it will be difficult.
He only wants you to dance now.
Okay, maybe I'll take the moves. But thank you for the compliment. I think the Gambia belongs to all of us. I've always said this, and I keep repeating it. We can only support each other to be a happy nation. And that's what drives me.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Please ask the Managing Director of NAWEC whether he is aware that there are two villages between Jalangba and Jambanjeli which don't have electricity and water. Those villages are Rumba and Sare Bigi or Sare Bigi villages. What is his plan for the people of Rumba and Sare Bigi villages when we are expecting them to help us with electricity first? So in order of preference, electricity first.
Okay. In order of preference for Mr. Sedi is water first.
Well,
you know, in life, water is...
Well, they say water is life.
Water is life. But like I said before, I'm not very familiar with the specificity of where those locations are. But NAWEC is planning to make sure that there's 100% coverage. That's what we keep saying, that access to electricity for all. And we are working on that. It's not only the provinces, it's the entire country. And that's a push for the president. That's what he is pushing. I want this, and want this. That's his sing-song. We want everywhere to get electricity, including water. And that's what's motivating us to be working 24/7.
Yeah.
So we'll get to you, my brother.
Well, you really need to work on your geography more. Good morning, Peter. Kindly ask the MD if Mahmouda, Kunkujang, Mariama, and the surrounding area would not ever have electricity connection.
No, they will have electricity connection. I can assure him that.
Okay. Why is NAWEC restoring the portions of the road where they have, or rather, why is NAWEC not restoring the portions of the roads where they have burst pipes? They will dig the road, repair the pipe, and just leave. They are part of the reason for our bad roads, especially in Westfield, Sukuta, Jabang Road, and Westfield, Tabokoto. So you people are destroying this very expensive, stretch of road.
Okay. We'll note what he have said. I know that some of us, people will go and, because the grounds are very wet, at the time they go to repair these places, it's very wet. and they'll go and repair it. Now, to backfill it with wet soil sometimes is a challenge. So normally they will want to cordon it off and leave it to dry and then come back and backfill it. Albeit sometimes they don't come back. I can accept that. And maybe it's an area we need to improve on, because it's not the first time I'm getting a complaint like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Salam Gorgi Peter, please ask Mr. Sedi about his plans to bring the problematic sewage system to its right footing. The system is indeed one of the biggest problems we have besides seasonality. We need a proper management system of a functional and sustainable treatment plant to save our souls. My final word is, if it's going to be privatized, it should not be done through Yamaneh basis, but based on competence and professionalism. Jerejef Sheikh Tidiane Niang. Are there plans to privatize the sewage system in Banjul?
Okay, I think the sewerage system, not just in Banjul, also in Kotu, next door here.
Oh, there is one?
There has always been a plan to do that, to privatize these two facilities. And that's still on the table.
In fact, further down he clarifies, he says, my reference in this case is the Kotu sewerage system.
Yeah, those plans are in place. There is a push to privatize. It hasn't happened yet. There's a lot going on at the moment, but it is still on the table to privatize it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Uncle Peter. I'm listening to the NAWEC MD, and a couple of questions come to mind. First, it's been nearly 59 years since the first disaster under the then utility company. Many times the leaders have come on the air and promised a turnaround, etc., but have failed. What should make us believe your guest? Secondly, how come vandalism is so rampant in our country and not only of NAWEC assets? Our culture of silence or sutura, as we call it locally, is preventing witnesses and bystanders from reporting. We have to take up the practice of, if you see something, say something. It's disheartening to see assets meant to develop our country being looted and destroyed with impunity. In fact, in my neighborhood, someone has removed the GPS plaques that were pinned onto our compounds. I am sure there are many homeowners and citizens like me who are frustrated with the poor security situation in the country. Thank you for your attention. I thought our building was the only one. Our GPS plaque has also disappeared.
So this is a phenomenon that's happening around. Vandalism, like I said before, it's happening, and it's a common objective for us to all work together and stop it. Not the police alone cannot do it. These people are living within our own homes. The people who are doing this are not sleeping in the streets. They are at our own homes. They have friends. They have brothers. So collectively, if we understand that public assets belongs to all of us, if you damage it, you are hurting yourself, and that's not good. You can go and pray as much as you want, but if you affect what's not yours, especially public, you aren't going to have a problem. You will have to account for that. So let's just be positive and educate our people that these are assets that need to be looked after. In terms of the first part of his question regarding why should we believe what he's telling us, I can only reassure him that
or her.
I can only reassure him or her that Gambia is here to stay. I will be going, like my predecessors who have been here are no longer there. And for me to come here to be positive, it means I can see positivity going forward. And that is what I can narrate. I cannot sit here and say, oh no, things are not happening. What is happening right now in this country, I can tell you, is very positive, and the impact is obvious unless you want to be a self-denier. But the impact is obvious and it's happening. So thank you very much for highlighting the issue of vandalism, not just for NAWEC, but let's fix it together.
2027 will be a milestone year for NAWEC. It will be 50 years since, the outbreak of that problem that has left us grappling with consistent electricity supply.
So
hopefully, before we get to the actual anniversary, you'd have arrested, the outage problem.
So I can tell you, a lot of managers have come, they've done their best, they've improved. And you can see it. NAWEC is not stagnant. From GUC time, as it evolves, it's improving. The bottleneck is this rapid demand ahead of planning ahead, put it that way, investment. But right now, the investment is happening. So by 2027, you will see a big difference.
Which, by the way, is 2 years down the line, not next year.
It's very obvious. There'll be big positive changes. Whether I am there or not there, whoever is coming in, public will see that there is huge...
Hopefully it's arrested while you are there, rather than having to wait until... Because you might be there, at least another 10 years. We hope we don't have to wait, beyond 10 years for it to be arrested.
Well, to tell you the truth, I think we have to give way to the youth, to the young ones. So we can do so far, and we have to allow the young ones to grow into where we are. And that's how I see it. I mean, wherever I am living off, somebody else should be able to stop in and continue. And that continuity will be there, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Question coming in from Sweden. Hello, Peter and Gallo. My questions to Mr. Sedi are, with all the funds that are being pumped into NAWEC, still customers are facing challenges. Doesn't he think NAWEC is either overstaffed with the wrong people, in the sense that they don't have the right personnel to achieve some of the targets? How realistic is the 90% access set by the politicians, given that the current customers aren't getting sufficient supply of electricity, talk less of adding more load onto them? And would it not be ideal to separate the electricity from the water and sewage so that the load would be reduced on them? Then there would be 2 MDs, one for water and sewage, and the other for electricity. Quite a packed question, eh?
Okay, probably...
we take them one by one?
We'll take them one by one. We'll start with the last one.
Okay.
And then work our way upwards.
Decoupling water and electricity?
Decoupling of water and electricity, that is currently on the way. The government have made the decision to separate water from electricity, and there's a task force that is already formed, and they are looking into this. So the plans are to get that to happen by the end of 2026. Optimism by the end of the year. So that process is in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The second part is, he spoke about overstaffing, and not just overstaffing, but overstaffing with the wrong, people, incompetent, to quote him, yes.
Okay, just what I would like to say there is, if you look at NAWEC, NAWEC is a very big institution. It is the ones responsible for both water and electricity across the country. So we are not overstaffed. We do have problems. And if you look at the people who are having problems compared to the silent ones, it's not a big percentage. So the people who really complain are the ones who are having the issues. But majority of people...
The competent ones.
Are silent.
Okay.
But inside NAWEC itself, I will admit, we are going through a transition phase where technology is improving, new technology is coming. There are people who can upskill and relearn. There are others who cannot. So within NAWEC itself, we are looking at how to upskill our own staff and build more capacity so that it aligns with technology going forward.
How realistic is the 90% access? I mean, politicians can say anything, but you're the technicians now, the technocrats, the experts. Is 90% attainable by the end of the year?
Okay, so I will tell you, I am not a politician. And
thank God for that.
I'm not a politician. So whatever I say here today is not political. And I want the Gambians to understand that. What the president said is, I want access to electricity for everybody, Not in political. If it's political, I will not be here. If it is,
people are saying it's not him expressing a wish. It's not aspirational. They're saying it's a promise.
And that promise.
So he's promised that by the end of 2025,
yes,
at least 90%
of the country,
and that is the question,
will have access to electricity, and that is what we are driving towards.
Is it attainable? That's the
Yes,
question.
it is very attainable.
Okay, all right. And well, his doubt is that people for us here in London Corner, yesterday when we spoke, I told you there was no electricity, you know, so we are struggling with consistency. So that's why he's asking the question. But let's move on very quickly because we don't have time. So would it not be ideal to separate the... No, we did that. That was the
so the consistency in the electricity, if you look at it, when you called, is because there was a technical problem with the system. And the guys went there and fixed it. Yeah. And you have stable electricity.
Yes.
So it's...
Since then
you are happy. Good.
Good morning, Uncle Peter and your guest. Whenever you invite the head of government parastatals, instead of talking about the difficulties they are facing, they will be praising the government or the president. Why? I believe they are making their work difficult for themselves. Praising government will not make them solve their problem. Are they doing this to make their master to protect their jobs? Why can't government provide them 24-hour security protection on all major important NAWEC sites? But NAWEC always excuse is people vandalizing their places. I think that's too cheap. If government cannot provide them police protection, NAWEC should hire private security.
Okay, just to clarify there, we do have private security, and also we have government supporting us, trying to mobilize resources when it comes to security. The issue is our infrastructure is very big, is very diverse, and some of them are very remote. So it will take a lot of resources to actually man those places. But like I said, technology is here, and in the future, going into the next year or two, this vandalism, whoever is doing it, it is going to be history because we'll catch them, because we are going to use technology to do that.
All right. Good morning, Peter. Please tell your guest that 90% of the blockages in Banjul are caused by the sands in the compounds and the streets. Sand gets in the pipes from the bathrooms in our compounds or through the manholes in the streets. The pipes get blocked because they are very small compared to other countries like in Europe, etc. I spoke about the size of the pipes.
So we discussed this before. Yeah. I think the sand getting in from the properties, that's what I was saying before. People should try not to put anything that is solid into those chambers that are within their properties, and also on the roads. Before, the roads were not paved, so and the soil gets through the manhole covers into the system and blocks the pipes. Even if the pipes were big, they will still have issues because most of those lines are gravity. You know, it's not like pumping lines; they are gravity. So if you have a buildup of sand in the pipe, even if it is not blocked, you'll still have blockages. I think general maintenance is one area that we probably have to improve on, making sure that we have the equipment to help the staff there to clean up these manholes frequently until we overcome this problem.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you ask the MD if criminals can penetrate the boreholes in isolated areas and steal valuables? Is it not possible for the same criminals to contaminate the borehole water, which can be disastrous to a whole community? I think to address this security issue is key for national security. If these people can go and vandalize, steal your cables, they can just go and poison all of us.
Okay, the reality is the way the infrastructure is designed, the boreholes themselves, they cannot have access to the water. If you look at the pipe work there, they cannot have access to the water. It's impossible.
Okay, thank God for that.
Yeah, they can't have access to the water. And if the borehole is pumping, there's pressure in the pipeline, right? So if you open a valve or anything that penetrates that network, instead of putting water in, it will be pumping on your face. So it's very not risky at all when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good morning, Uncle Peter and MD Sadie. I've lived in typhoon and earthquake-prone countries where storms do not necessarily lead to power shutdowns. Not long ago, I was in Senegal during a rainy storm with thunderstorms and lightning, but the power held. Could it be that procurement of cheaper hardwares could explain the difference? In addition, is the entire power infrastructure earthed to prevent damage to household equipment and devices that NAWEC never pays for? We are all interested in this one.
Okay, so like I said, I'm not an electrical engineer, but my understanding is our systems are earthed, and most of properties where you have these issues of damage of appliances, they don't have their own protection after their meter. So people need to have their own protections after their meter, and their own houses need to be earthed to prevent this type of occurrences. In saying that, if he wants to compare the Gambia to other countries, I can tell him that this happens in most countries. Our infrastructure, like I said before, some areas, they are very old infrastructures, since in the 80s, 70s. So those are areas that are vulnerable. And like I said, we have projects that are coming that will address most of those problems going forward.
I'll make this the last question. By the way, NAWEC have a long-running program on West Coast Radio, a program that preceded Mr. Gallo Sedi to NAWEC. It's called the NAWEC Hour every Thursday from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I'm sure the team will be listening, and some issues that he's not been able to address for technical reasons, they will try to address. So this is the absolute last question because it's exactly 10 o'clock. Good morning, Peter. Can you ask your guest what is the problem with Canifing layout? It's 8 years now. Our water is problematic and still no solution.
Okay, I think I've addressed that before. We have these projects that are coming on that will resolve the problems in the Canifing area, Fajara areas. Within the next 12 months, we should solve these problems.
Fantastic. Mr. Gallo Sedi, thank you very much for coming. Just final message perhaps?
Okay, my final message...
For your customers, who include the president, by the way. You serve everybody, don't you?
Yeah, I serve everybody, you know. Well, what I would like to say, I would like to thank the government for the support they are giving us and for the push, because H is really pushing us. I can tell you that.
Oh, he's pushing. What is he saying?
He wants to make sure that his promise is fulfilled. So that's a whip he has, and it's a good motivation for us to see that you have been pushed. For the Gambian people, NAWEC have a trajectory that is very positive. We have staff that are working very hard. You may not notice it, but the services you are getting at your doorstep, it takes a lot of effort to get it there. So at a closing note, I would like to appreciate our customers, that we are constructing a customer-centric service, which is going to reinforce this 1669. That will be a state-of-the-art very soon. And if you have a problem, that's where you go, and then it will be resolved within a very short period of time. And I thank everybody for your time.
Fantastic. Mr. Sedi, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter.
All right. Gallo Sedi is the Managing Director of the National Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Sewage.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mënuloo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Xana lay waxal.
Bësal mu fay.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh. Yes!
Wave Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Bustle mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.